It's just saying setting up.
It's crazy how bad Giannis is at free throws.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. Oh wow, dude. It's 32-26.
Yeah.
Bucks. They were up 30 to 9. Or 30-11, I think, when Giannis went out, and now it's 32-6. That's so crazy. That's wild. That means someone for the Nets is probably going off right now.
Dang, they finished quick. All right, fast break. You ready?
Let's do it.
We got next. Let's get it.
All right. So we're going to jump into the Simone Biles stuff because I think everyone's been giving her flowers. You got me on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So Simone Biles has been doing some pretty crazy stuff lately in gymnastics. And I feel like she just sweeps. I don't know all the gymnastic events throughout the year or however many there are that are not the Olympics, but she seems to be winning all of them and pretty easily. And it's almost like gotten to the point where they don't want her in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to ban her. That's just stupid because it's great for the sport. And one of the few reasons why people know about the sport right now. But she just does some crazy, crazy things. So here's one. I don't even know, I don't know what you call this move, but
Simone Biles.
Did we get that? Watch that.
The amount of twists and turns.
So I'm just gonna stop it at some point. All right. Look how high she's in the air. And I don't know how many twists and turns there are in there, but yeah.
I've seen people try and count, and it's wild the amount of times they say, I heard someone say she twisted and turned 15 times. They're like, all right, you're exaggerating. But the fact that sometimes fast motion, you can't even.
That's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
That's probably pretty close. And then she does this and it's in slow-mo. I don't know if it's the same thing.
It might be. I think it
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, look at that. It's incredible.
The fact that she can turn her body in midair. It's not like she was jumping off of a building or jumping into water. It was literally the padding and stuff from the mat. And then, of course, it has springs and stuff. But the fact that she was able to do that.
Right here. It does not look like she's going to
that close to the ground.
No way. No way. Even here. I mean, I don't know how high that is off the ground, but it doesn't look like she's going to land that at all. At this point, I would fear for her safety.
And then she's able to
even there, that's
she's looking at the ground at that point.
Yeah. I mean, and she knows she's going to land it too. That's the other.
Oh, absolutely.
She knows she's going to land it, and boom, stuck it. Oh, that's crazy. I was
no stumbling or anything.
That's wild. So I was thinking, and it kind of got me thinking, Simone Biles right now, is she? I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment and ask, is she the best athlete on the planet?
Mm-hmm.
But in the sense of her being the best at what she does and doing it better, being the best at her sport, is she better than everybody else at being the best at what she's supposed to be the best at? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So honestly, what's crazy with her, and I remember when we were texting about this, the only person, of course, so you have LeBron or you have Kobe and then Tom Brady, but the only one, and Michael Phelps is in that, it reminds me of Usain Bolt, when even before every event, you knew they were going to win. Simone Biles, she came on the scene and she took it over. Of course, you had Gabby Douglas too, but Simone was nah, this is my time to shine. And then just continued with it. And right now, there's so many people out there that probably didn't ever watch gymnastics, but when they turn it on, they're all right, let's see what Simone's about to do today. Because she's making things up. Even when like Shaun White was at the top of his thing in snowboarding, they were just making things up, and they literally called it the Simone Biles or the Biles.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I don't know how you even think to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm just gonna throw in a cannonball with a jackknife,
Yeah,
plus two backflips. I'm gonna grab something back here.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna land like this. And like I don't know how you even who do you draw it up?
I was gonna say that. Who do you look up to? Because nobody else is doing what you're doing.
Like you can't watch film on that.
Nope.
Like you can't just like, it has to be. And I mean, if anybody is watching this and they're a gymnastics expert, please tell us. But like, I feel like you just throw 2 or 3 different moves in there, like different flips, and it's just like snowboarding. You're just throwing in. Speaking of Shaun White, you're just throwing in extra twists and like make twists plus a gainer, and it just like standard stuff, and it just looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like the only and she dominates at a level that gymnastics, like, again, I don't know the history of gymnastics, so I'm not going to sit here and try and wow you with that. But I mean, she's dominating at a level that, like, I mean, it's in terms of the Olympics. Yeah. Usain Bolt, it's, probably untouchable right now, or was. Phelps was the same way.
Yes.
You got those guys. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and she's just doing that. And, we have the Olympics coming up in like a month and a couple weeks. So, I mean, she'll probably sweep everything, and the USA will probably sweep all the team stuff because of her.
She's going home with gold at least a couple of times.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when the US men's team basketball goes to the Olympics, at least recently, when they got a squad, you're like, yeah, I mean, okay, cool. It's a wrap. And then it's like, I'm sure when Jamaica gets off the bus for whatever track whatever track it is,
men or women,
it doesn't matter. And you're just, oh, okay, well, why
who's getting second?
Like, yeah, why even bother? Like, why even? It's crazy. Like, I was watching some of the Olympic stuff. I know you do it as well. We get stuck down the YouTube wormhole.
Yeah,
just like go from video to video to video, and you end up on something crazy. But I was watching some of the best Olympic moments, and Jamaica just like, it's every time.
Yes.
I want to say every year in terms of the Olympics, but like, it's every single time. And Simone Biles is on that level now. And yeah, it's like, who's going to get second?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. Step up. Maybe another US person, but yeah, she's doing some stuff that move wise, it's like in the early 2000s or like in the 90s when the dunk contest was becoming more and more, a lot more fun to watch. You got guys like Vince Carter throwing out stuff. Now it's like, you've seen pretty much everything, but we're not even close to that. I feel like with Biles, like, you've never seen this stuff before, and she just keeps doing it. And I feel like gymnastics, obviously, like if you're smaller, you have a little bit of the advantage because you can throw in another flip when maybe someone who's a little bit bigger can't do it. So she's just gonna keep flipping until she literally can't flip until she is like at the ground.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because I also think about the television and how everyone, they'll be tuned in for it, and how much these different people make on advertisements and how much the Olympics is going to make and everything. They can't make her first because then once she goes, people are going to just turn it off. So you almost have to put her in like the middle or the end just so people have something to build up to so that they end up watching it, because she's the main thing. Like, that's what you are, no matter around the world. That's what you're watching. You're just going to watch her. I remember even during COVID, when we were deep in COVID, she was kind of doing videos of her being at home. And I think it was like being able to take off the pants she had on from like a certain way. And of course she had something underneath, but she literally did it. Then you would see all these people.
Good looks.
And
Good looks.
Yeah. Then you would see all these people trying to mimic it. And the things she could do, it's just ridiculous. So she's making things up as she goes, kind of just like wakes up. All right, you know what? Let me try and do this today.
Yeah. Like, do you just like jot that down? Like, okay, cool. Like add in 3 flips plus a jackknife and a cannonball.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm gonna call it this. Like, it's mind blowing to think that a human being can, like, it's one thing when you're watching basketball and you see Giannis, LeBron, Durant, whoever it is, take off from somewhere, or throw a move in there, or like a crazy dunk, whatever. But like I feel like we see those type of things, those wow moments, like every night almost in the NBA, which I guess to some degree kind of makes it a little more crazy. But like, there's nobody else on the planet, no one else on the planet, unless there's some like 9, 10, 11-year-old who's doing these things in some backyard in Kansas. Like, there's no one else on the planet that's doing or can probably even come close to doing what she's doing.
Yeah, no.
And that's the crazy thing. It's like when Tiger Woods was at his peak. Like, yeah, Usain Bolt, it's different because like those guys are like, they're there until like almost until the end. So it's like there's guys who are like as fast as him, but he's like just that much faster. Like with Tiger, when he was doing his thing, you couldn't even come close to him.
No.
And like he was doing hitting shots and doing crazy things that like on the golf course that no one had ever seen before. And Simone Biles is in the same breath, but yeah, it's crazy.
So with that being said, we kind of forgot our manners. We apologize, everyone. Introductions really quick. So I'm Christian as usual, Twitter handle AyoShifty. That's Steven, my co-host, Steven_Springs. And then you can also follow us at the We Got Next Twitter handle that we do have as well. Just as always, just make sure to smash the like button and make sure to put on your post notifications and click subscribe. That's another big thing that'll help us as we move going forward. And honestly, we want to just say thank you. This is something that Steve and I have talked about for a minute that we always want to do. And it's something that we'll continue to give you content throughout the week. Always stay tuned on our Twitter handle because we'll always post something that's going to be on here, or even we'll talk about later today, some giveaways that not even Steven knows about. I even had to text my content manager earlier today, just saying, be prepared for what we're about to do tonight. So it's one of those things that you never know what's going to happen day in and day out. But with that being said, I guess we can talk about the 2 giveaways that we had. So the first one is, and Steve and I were going back and forth, we were trying to figure out what we're going to do for the title of the cryptocurrency section. And so we're going to throw it to the 6 men and women out there. So whoever can drop down below, it doesn't have to be this video, it can be any of the videos. If you think of the best cryptocurrency segment title name, we will end up sending you $25 for the one that ends up winning, $25 in Bitcoin. And then the other one, which is a huge giveaway that we're going to do, is once we reach 100 subscribers, and then we also get any of these videos to 100 likes, I'm going to send that person $100 in Bitcoin. So I'll work with my content manager, and then she'll randomly take every single wallet address that's down below the video. It has to be that video that has 100 likes. And then we'll end up sending you $100 in Bitcoin. Of course, we'll reach out to you, just to let you know. We'll announce it on here so that it's full transparency and you don't think that anything is rigged with it. But that's what we're going to do. So each video, just make sure to put your Bitcoin wallet address down below. Make sure you put every single letter, symbol, number, whatever it might be in there. Include the whole thing, because if you say, oh, this is what I sent you, and we try and send it to you, we're not going to keep sending it again. So this is the big thing. If you even want to end up asking us how to do it, just let us know and we can do that too. But put your whole wallet address down below, and then I'll work with my content manager and we'll end up sending the winner $100 in Bitcoin. So make sure to tell your friends, tell your family, whoever you want to, make sure that they subscribe, like the videos, which is a big importance for that. So with those 2 being said, we also have some more big announcements to make. If you end up looking at my Twitter page, we've also retweeted in different places too. But if you look at the social media, Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you'll notice that we just finished up an AMA with Tyler from Safe Haven. So I do want to appreciate the whole Safe Haven crew. If anyone's asking what AMA is, it's basically an Ask Me Anything. So it's a time where I can talk to somebody with that company about the company and help everyone to learn more. A big thing with the Shift Movement company itself, but also something that Steve and I like to do is just educate and help teach people different things. So Safe Haven and Tyler were kind enough to take time out of the day to end up answering questions with us and just to give everyone more insight on the company. Of course, I know a good amount, and it's a digital inheritance company, but it's so much deeper than just being a digital inheritance company. So just go click the Medium article. We definitely took a lot of time and effort into doing that, and I had a good time with Tyler on that. So he will also be on the podcast on July 5th. So make sure to tune in for that one, because Tyler and I have been talking, and it's going to be a great episode between the three of us talking. So me, Steven, and Tyler will have a good time about that. And then the other one, and this is another big one, we're going to have Utu on the podcast. So Utu protocol, they're a trust protocol that basically is working to end up building the trust and things of that nature, starting with Africa. And I was able to talk to Mike Chen, who's also with them. He is their CCO over there, and he will be coming on the podcast June 21st. But he will also be doing an AMA that I'm working with him on currently right now to end up putting that out to everyone. So those are two big ones. I have been in talks with other people, and we're working to solidify that. Some big names that you'll actually be excited for. Then we also have some sports, so don't even worry. There's going to be sports players on here too. I've been talking to some physical trainers as well. So we'll try to get a blend of a lot of different people. We want to have some experts that are in the real estate agency to end up talking to us just about that. We'll have some financial advisors on the show. We'll have some other people that are a part of different cryptocurrency companies, and we'll have athletes. So we've been talking to a bunch of different people. The big thing is just making sure their schedules work with our schedules. And as Stephen always likes to say, I'm gonna have your people contact my people and we'll get it together. So that's the big thing with that. Going into the next thing I want to say is I've been talking to a lot of people in the Luxo community. So I definitely want to give them a big shout out. They're huge and welcoming, and they definitely are very supportive of the We Got Next podcast, but also the Shift Movement company.
Time out.
Yes, sir.
So throughout the show, or throughout like the first handful of shows that we do, because I'm so new to the crypto world and to these communities, which just following along on your Twitter feed, they all seem like dope people. I feel like it's a very tight knit community. I feel like it's a neighborhood almost.
Yeah,
it's almost it's crazy. Like people in the sports world, I feel like are a little more abrasive at times. Once you have to like warm up to them, and then they'll do the same thing to you. But with the crypto world, and it might just be the small segment that I've seen with you, but they're all like, hey, like, what's up? Like, you want to chat?
Yes.
And I'm like, dang, like someone like me could reach out and be like, hey, I know nothing about anything. And I'd get 20 responses. People want to chat and pick my brain and like have me do the same. It's crazy. Like, so wait, what's the Luxo community?
So Luxo is basically an NFT company, but they're so much bigger. Their main founder, they have two, Marjorie, who's a co-founder of it, but Fabian is one of the people that a lot of people know. He also helped create Ethereum. So he was a big person with the Ethereum blockchain, and he helped with the ERC20 token. So that's a lot of times what people know about, but Luxo is working to be an NFT blockchain. So a big thing, Stephen, that definitely resonates with a lot of people is think of shoes. So I know back in the day, people used to think, oh, I got these Jordans on the side of the block, like they're real. And then you come home and find out you got some fake Jordans. And so a big thing what Luxo and like other NFT companies are doing, they'll end up putting chips inside of them, but also having like QR readers in a sense, so that you can end up like scanning the chip or like just having a physical version, but there'll also be a digital version of it. But think of it like a Carfax, and you're able to see like when it was built, who's had it before you, and just a way to serve as validity and authenticity for that. They'll even do it with like designer brands too. So one of their big ones that a lot of the sports world will know is one of their advisors on the team is a part of the Nike. So he's helping the Luxo to end up becoming better. They of course have people like Burberry, and then they have another person that works with Instagram that are part of their advisors. So it's just a big time with the Luxo community having fun, and they're so knowledgeable. They welcome you in. They will be up late though, because a lot of them are over in Europe. So just any of the Luxo community members, it doesn't even have to be one of the people that legit work for Luxo, but their base of community and the people that understand are invested in it. It's big. They literally will just message me at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night saying, we're about to get on Twitter Spaces basically, and we're about to end up talking. Do you want to join? And I'll get on, but then the next day I'm like, dang, these people be up. But it's because of the time difference. So I do enjoy them. I have a good time. And I'll say in my Drake voice, because I can't shout them all out, but they know who they are. So I definitely appreciate them a lot.
Shout out.
So yeah, so that's a big thing with me. And then the other thing that you were mentioning to me, and we can end up segueing into this, is heard you knew something about a little penthouse.
Yeah. So there's two breaking news stories that happened in Miami. One of them which is what I heard, which I got hyped for a second because I thought we were going to talk about the same thing. Yeah. It wasn't the same thing. So now that I am entering the Bitcoin or the crypto community, I see a lot of it come up on my Twitter feed, or you retweet stuff and it just, flows, and I'll take a look at it because I need to, and I want to. But something came up, and there was a Miami penthouse that was purchased in all Bitcoin.
Yep.
I don't know what that really means. Like, I don't know. I forget how much it was, but it was like a handful of millions.
Yeah, it was, I think, like 22 million.
Yeah, I think it was 22 million. And like, I don't know, like, how can you explain to us as a whole how you purchase something in Bitcoin? Like, how you purchase a $22 million penthouse in Bitcoin, and how does one go about getting $22 million worth of Bitcoin?
So what's crazy is
like obviously you got to be someone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's not just a regular person.
No.
So what they can do is, it's a multitude of different ways, but just so everyone understands, $22 million in Bitcoin currently right now is around about 611 Bitcoin that they use. Now, just think about that in the sense of, if you just gave someone over 611 Bitcoin and the value is supposed to continue to go up, that's going to be crazy. So whoever was on the receiving end of that deal, it's a big. But a big thing with them is there's different platforms that you can go on, and people start to see Utrust is one, and they're basically a payment processing system. Think of similar to like PayPal, or you have like Venmo Business and things of that nature. And what they can end up doing is, of course, you'll go through a lot of the different paperwork. We're working also as well to have this on the blockchain. There are some companies out there that do have it on the blockchain, and all the paperwork can be on there, smart contracts, everything. And once the deal is kind of signed that way, Bitcoin can be transferred. A lot of times it'll go through different institutional custodies. So sometimes people might end up using Coinbase, or you can end up using Binance or a BlockFi. So those are different ways to end up transferring it, but you'll end up making sure that you're doing it just the legal institutional way. Of course, right now I can send Steven 3 Bitcoin and just send that either through Cash App. It won't happen overnight because they have limits, but on other websites, and he can get it. But a lot of times it'll be tracked. So people end up seeing, how did this end up happening? 611 Bitcoin. And since all the wallet addresses are out there, people end up just looking to figure that out. So that's another reason why it's end up reported, because people will find out. So different companies accept Bitcoin, and you're able to just kind of send it that way. But for it to be $22 million, I don't care what country, that $22 million is a lot. But just to think about it in the American dollar going into Bitcoin, it's crazy.
Also, $22 million in Miami is different than $22 million everywhere else.
Yeah, because
like,
they also don't have all the taxes.
Yeah, and there's like, there's other, well, I mean, primarily because you get that $22 million by any means necessary down there.
Mm-hmm.
So now that wasn't the breaking news story that you were talking about.
Yeah.
What was the more important breaking news story out of Miami?
So I'll break this down even more just so everyone understands. But the big news was, shout out to Jack Mahler, and they end up working with the politicians and presidents and higher bodies in El Salvador. And El Salvador passed a bill to make Bitcoin a legal tender in their country. So what that ends up meaning is in businesses in El Salvador, they will now be accepting Bitcoin. On the El Salvador reserves, they will hold Bitcoin, but also on their balance sheets that they have in El Salvador, they will have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And it's a huge step, especially for Latin American countries and South American countries. And I learn this all the time in international finance that I take right now, because we don't understand the full value of the American dollar. But when you compare it to other countries, some countries, it takes over 5,000 of their country's dollar to make a US dollar, $1. So in Latin American countries, holding Bitcoin there, it allows their country to become stronger, but the worth of that country to be so much more. So you'll honestly start to see a lot of people. I've seen so many memes and stuff about different Salvadorians driving like Lamborghinis and stuff because they'll have a lot more money down there, but the value will enhance that country. And then you'll also see other Latin American countries. I even saw Argentina. Some of their politicians have like the laser eyes. And a big thing with the laser eyes is kind of just you staying focused, and like that's it's another community. But then you also have Mexico that's doing it. And a huge part about people that end up accepting Bitcoin, or politicians that are working to pass bills with accepting Bitcoin, is they're some of the nicest people. Like I was in a Twitter space and we had some people from the politicians in El Salvador. And it's just crazy that some of these governing bodies, they'll just hop into the Twitter spaces. I can promise you here, you are not about to see Joe Biden jump in and be like, yo, what's up? Like, let me talk to y'all. Kamala Harris not about to say, all right, what's going on? She might say hi to you, or like you might see her on the street. But if I saw this one guy, he had to yell Luka Doncic's name so many times to get a jersey signed. This guy said, all right, let me just hop on into this Twitter space. There were a lot of people in there. So that was a really cool thing. Just to see all of them. You saw so many verified Twitter handles in there. It was over like 20,000 people, but it was just ridiculous seeing El Salvador accepted as a legal tender. And this is something you can come back to this if you want to have receipts, but they're not going to be the last country to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender or have it on their balance sheet.
Is this a domino effect?
Absolutely.
It's similar. Is it like a quick domino effect where like other countries are going to see this and it's going to be like, boom, or it's going to be like, all right, let's feel this out and let's see how it goes.
I started to see, so it reminds me of Michael Saylor, who is the head individual, the CEO. Well, he's basically the president at MicroStrategy. And what he did there is he starts to put so much money on the balance sheet in Bitcoin. And a lot of other companies just started to do it, but it took so much time. Bitcoin's been around since 2009, 2010. So now seeing so many people end up getting it, it took a minute, but they start to understand the full value of it. In the beginning, it was a test. So it will be a domino effect. It might take time. I can see a lot of the Latin American countries start off doing it, and then you'll start to see other countries. You, of course, have the issues in China and India, where one day they ban it, the next day they accept it, and then it starts to fluctuate the price. Even in America, you have Elon Musk one day saying, yes, like Bitcoin's great. The next day, oh, I don't know, like Bitcoin takes up and uses a lot of electricity. So if we have those issues here, and what's also crazy about it is they're working to have renewable energy in El Salvador. Literally, like the next day I saw them over here putting drills in the ground and everything to start with renewable energy. So it's just really crazy. But I do believe it's definitely a domino effect that will happen down the road. This helps with countries. You have certain businesses, Jack Dorsey and Twitter and Square, that are working on it. Then you also have MicroStrategy. But for the countries aspect and a global effect, this definitely helps a lot. And going into that, what's up with them prices though?
Yes, sir. We got them.
So with the prices, we're going to try and do this all the time just so people can understand more about cryptocurrency and just end up learning basically certain websites. So again, we're going to use CoinMarketCap. We have Bitcoin, that's still number one, and Bitcoin will for a long time become number one. They say that there's always Bitcoin killers. Yes, sir.
Timeout. That's going to be the signal. I mean, you can give me a 30-second timeout. If I do this, I'm just going to take a 30-second timeout real quick, just kind of like throw in something, whatever it is. But if I gotta give you one of these, like I'm gonna, that some sort of long questions coming your way.
Yep.
So you said Bitcoin's been around since 2009. Yes.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like it's only been why does it feel like it's only been around for the last like 3 years?
So
Like why is it like just now? I mean, not just now, but why does it feel like, is it because of like the social media presence, or is it like, why does it feel like more so very, very recently that it's becoming more and more of a talking point, more prevalent? Why are so many people trying to get on board now? Because it is so crazy, or what?
And so a big thing with it is the acceptance that in the beginning, a lot of people didn't accept it. You heard a lot of people say that it was used for drugs or smuggling with weapons, and it was an easy hidden way that you can't really fully trace it. Even though you can literally click on someone's wallet address to see where the transfer happened. But it's a big acceptance coming on from institutional investors. They're starting to get involved in it. And then you have athletes. Whenever you have celebrities end up getting on the ride of something, it helps other people, which they call retail investors, start to want to learn about it. So a big one you see is Dogecoin. A big reason for that is because Elon Musk. If Elon Musk tweets anything about Dogecoin, it'll make that one move and blow up even more. But then you have other ones like Shiba Inu and Australian Shepherd coin. And those are just all random different ones that are from the same meme coin specific area. So once Dogecoin goes up, other ones will blow up. But people are starting to realize, as a community, like retail investors have so much power and they start throwing in things. My problem with people putting it into these meme coins, there's no use case. The only real use case with Dogecoin is the fact that it helps beginners who don't really know about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. They're able to end up just putting money into that, but then they dive deeper. And as you can see, their circulating supply is over 128 billion. So it looks like 129 billion, but the market cap they have is $42 billion. The fact that it has $42 billion worth of that company, that's crazy. Well, the value of it. Whereas you look at Bitcoin, at one point it was over $1 trillion. So Bitcoin has a use. That's a big thing that people don't realize. Bitcoin has used, it's used as a store of value, but in the beginning, a lot of times people used it as a means of payment. So then the next one you have is Ethereum, which builds a lot of builds a lot of companies on top of this blockchain. And so that's something else that has a use case. The next one you'll see is Tether, which is a stable coin that's pegged to the US dollar. So that's something that'll always be up there. But something else people need to understand is at one point, Ripple was in the top 3 or 4. It had a huge, crazy spike. But Tether's up there because we're in a pullback. So a lot of times people in a pullback don't necessarily want to end up putting all their money in cryptocurrencies. They'll put in like a stable coin. But then you'll also see up there is Binance Coin. And I'll segue after this with Binance Coin, which is number 4 at a price of $345. Binance Coin is the cryptocurrency, or they call it like an exchange-based token or utility. And it's used on the Binance exchange, but they also use it now on something called more so like decentralized exchanges. A big one that people know is PancakeSwap, and then also Uniswap. So Uniswap is currently ranked number 10, but you'll see a lot of different exchanges. So one of my top picks, we'll segue into that later, but is FTX or FTT. They're also the one of the main sponsors of the Miami Heat. So if you drive by anything with the Miami Heat, you'll end up seeing FTX because that's the exchange, and they'll end up being branded more so like on the Miami Heat. So no more of the you'll hear different arenas called like American Airlines or Verizon Center or Capital One Arena. So now you got FTX. So when you got a cryptocurrency in there, it's going to draw a lot of attention. But going into more exchanges, you have ones like Coinbase and you have Gemini. So Gemini is GUSD, which is their ticker handle. But then you also have KuCoin, which has their own exchange token. You also have ones like OKX. And so a lot of those are different important ones that people end up using. You'll have them on different exchanges. So you won't always see them on other exchanges, but on the exchange like KuCoin will have their token on there. Binance will have theirs on there, but Binance will also have it on PancakeSwap. And you can use Binance token or Binance coin as liquidity in yield farming and things of that nature. So that's a big thing. Separating the difference between centralized, which is Binance, and you'll have Coinbase and Gemini. Decentralized, you'll have Uniswap and PancakeSwap. And that's something that a lot of people start to just understand and know about. Ones that I would recommend for people, if you feel as though you're knowledgeable and you have a good understanding of cryptocurrencies, I would say try and dive into PancakeSwap or Uniswap. You have QuickSwap out there. Shout out Hathor. They're about to make their own with zero fees. What you got for me, Rick Carlisle?
Are you saying pancake?
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's
that's
called
what I thought.
Pancake Swap.
You
Cake
had my
is the
you
ticker
had my
symbol.
attention.
I know.
Okay. I'm there. I'm with you. I'm with
They
you.
have like random ones. They have Pancake Swap. I know Burger Swap is out there, Sushi Swap. And it's weird. I don't understand. They just started coming out with food names for it, but some of them stick. Only problem is some of them end up having anonymous teams, so nobody necessarily knows who they are. And that's the big thing people are trying to figure out and understand. If it's an anonymous team, how much do you trust them? But then you have Satoshi Nakamoto with Bitcoin, and he started it, or they started it, and people end up going that route. But I would recommend, if you're a beginner, try out Coinbase. They have a Coinbase rewards and earn program, whereas you can end up earning free Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies for just learning about the different cryptocurrencies out there. And they do something I really like. They're trying to educate people. So another one that I recommend to people is Gemini. It's very simple. Anyone can get it. And the Winklevoss twins, who also helped with Facebook in the beginning, once they ended up getting their settlement basically from Mark Zuckerberg, because he kind of took that over, they used a lot of that money to invest into their company. And another one is BlockFi. So I used BlockFi. They don't have as many fees as the other ones either. And it's just easy. A lot of these companies are going to come out with either debit cards or credit cards, whereas once you swipe it, you'll earn rewards. So that's the big thing with that. I know it's a lot of information and I'm saying a lot right now, but that's why I want you to also not just tune into this video, but I start to do crypto reviews during the week. So on those crypto reviews, we'll dive deeper into specific cryptocurrencies that you can then learn about. What I do on those is I start basically what every person do, start on CoinMarketCap or start on CoinGecko. And then we just dive into what the company is. So we'll look at their Twitter, we'll look at their Reddit, we'll end up looking at the website, and I'll read word for word what the company is. So we'll learn about, is it an Oracle, a meme coin? Is it a utility? Is it a blockchain? Or what exactly it is, so people can learn about that. So that's the next thing. Something else I do want to talk about, because I know some of you all are probably like, you're saying all this about cryptocurrencies, but we don't necessarily know what cryptocurrencies to invest in. A couple of ones that my company with Shift Movement actually is invested in. And I have to start off with this one just to get this out the way. I am invested in Safe Haven. So the ticker for that one is SHA. We do have them coming on the podcast, but they're just an all around good company. And I won't explain too much about them because I want you all to learn a lot from Tyler. Tyler can do a better job than I can about that. Another one is on Federal Reserve. Their ticker is ERSDL. And that's something, if you stay with us, you can end up looking on different crypto review videos that I do, because I'll put them out there. Also look at my Twitter handle. So I want you all not just to hear things here, but check different places. And I like what they're doing on Federal Reserve. Another big one that I really like, which is a part of the company, is Utrust. So their ticker is UTK, that you can end up looking into. It's probably one of the first ones I was ever invested in. After Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and stuff like that, but it was Utrust. And another one, just to keep going, two more, is Chainlink. I know a lot of people have heard about them. The Link Marine, shout out. You can almost get them on any exchange at this point. So they're basically in the Oracle space. So I know at one point I talked about Band Protocol. So this is Chainlink. Chainlink is probably the most well-known Oracle in cryptocurrency. And the final one is iExec. So their ticker is RLC. They're more so a cloud computing company, and it's huge. They got listed on Coinbase. And like everyone says, cryptocurrencies, once they go on Coinbase, they start going to the moon. That one definitely shot up, but it started to come back once there was a pullback. So a lot of times right now, Bitcoin will lead the way with cryptocurrencies, but you'll see some here and there end up taking off in their own direction and going up. But they come back down after the Coinbase pumps. So just make sure, if you're ever in a coin that's pumping up a lot, you just take your profit, so that you can either reinvest it, or you can end up just having it to end up paying bills, like take someone out, or just have money for yourself. So that's the big thing with those. So if you don't want to end up being a person that wants to long-term invest, I do a challenge every single month on Twitter, and it's basically called either the monthly challenges. So for this month, I do have 5, and I mentioned one of them earlier, just talking about exchanges. But the 5 I have, and this is not financial advice, me doing these, this is just what I do. With the company, we invest in different ones so that people can learn about ones each month. But the 5 that we have are FTT. I mentioned FTX earlier. So that's the token that's on that exchange that is used for. Horizon is their ticker is Zen. So it's a privacy. Yep. And then the next one is Dent. So they're big. They offer like data packages and things of that nature. A big thing nowadays, everyone knows, is data. The next one after that is Glitch Protocol. And you can even see down low, a lot of people are starting to get excited about Glitch. They're a blockchain-based operating system, and they're built for money market. And so the final one is Alliance Block. So what I do with these, how I come up with them, one, I end up choosing one from the top 100, one from the top 101 to 200, 2 from outside of the top 200. And then I have one that's a privacy token or coin. So that's end up how I choose them. And what I do is research to see about upcoming events that they end up having. So some might have more upcoming events than others, and you always try to be ahead. Some of them are OGs, like Dent has been around for a while, and I've seen Dent end up pumping up at times. So some of these will end up moving up. Like one time I end up having on Federal Reserve, it definitely shot up a lot. But then other times you will have some that don't necessarily move too much. So it's just a matter of how it is each month. Last month, we didn't do as well because Bitcoin pulled back. You had news with like Elon Musk, you had China banning. So those do play an impact. But if I'm going just off of fundamental analysis and sometimes just doing a little TA, you end up seeing like a lot of these should end up moving as the market continues to move, but also on their own, some of these will move more than others do move. So I think that's basically it with the top 5 picks on both ones. But
couple things.
Yes, sir.
If you if anybody if you miss anything, want to hear it again, obviously you can watch the recording of the podcast, check it out again on our YouTube page. Go ahead and smash the like button as well, subscribe. And then always follow Christian's Twitter handle for all the latest crypto news. Don't follow me for that.
Hey, Steven will make you go viral though.
Yes, I do have a couple viral videos on there. Follow Christian for all the latest crypto news, and I'd like to at some point, we got to figure out how to do this. If anybody is out there who is good at this, I want to put a ticker on the bottom of our YouTube thing video while we're doing this, that have people take a look at all the crypto stuff that's going on, so we don't have to keep screen sharing and make it easier for the viewers and things of that nature. So yes, if you miss anything, wanna keep up with things, always check out Christian's Twitter handle, Twitter feed. It's flooded with it, which is great. Keep someone like myself on my toes about trying to learn the crypto stuff. I mean, it is a lot, but it's all it's all relevant. A lot of a lot of the sports stuff we talk about is relevant in the moment, but like for example, we'll get to the Julio Jones stuff. That's not going to be. I mean, it's relevant now because he's just starting with the Titans, but it's not going to be relevant for a couple months. Yeah, the impact isn't there yet. Yeah. So, but the Bitcoin and all the companies that you mentioned and all the stories that you talk about and the news and everything, like that's that's real life shit. It's happening 24/7. So all over the world. So any questions, go to Christian, not me. You want to get updates on something, go to Christian, not me. If you miss something, go to Christian, not me. Well, you can go to me and I'll send you the link to our podcast. You can tell your friends to subscribe as well. So anything revolving around crypto and you're trying to get more involved with it, Christian is your guy. Yeah. So with that, because we talked about picks and I leaked this a little bit on Twitter, but we got some more picks that I actually want to hear Steven's opinion on. So we're about to switch roles with this, and we'll talk about Rudy Gobert because that's a big one. 3-time It is.
So defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
big.
need your thoughts on this. The world needs your thoughts on this.
I think it solidifies him as a Hall of Fame player. I think 2, probably was putting him in that space, but I think 3, definitely solidifies him as a Hall of Fame player. He's got as many as Dwight Howard does. Dikembe Mutombo, Ben Wallace both have 4. Obviously, both Hall of Famers. So I think Gobert getting 3, and I don't know how old he is off the top of my head. I think he's probably either almost 30 or like around there. I mean, he might get a couple more, which might separate him even more from other people. The debate is
28.
28, yeah. So I mean, he's got, and athletes 28 to 32 is the prime. Is what they say. So like, if he's just entering his prime, cool. Like he might end up with another 5 more. Who knows? So the debate was, or the argument was, Ben Simmons not getting the defensive player of the year, but I just feel like people look at his block numbers, Rudy Gobert's, and like that's it, and like that's what he does, because he is a 7 foot, he's like 7'2", I think he is. So he's not going to be out on the perimeter. He's not going to be doing that. So it's like those numbers are there, and they're not the only thing you should look at, because he averages 2 blocks a game. Depending on the season, you can go back and he's averages more, but that means like to keep that going for the entire season, you got to have games where you have 5, 6, 7 blocks.
Yes.
Keep those up. And like, you do that on you look at that on an analytical level, it's, you're essentially erasing, 8, 10, 12 points, however many, whatever it is, like 14 points, if you're having 7 blocks a game. That's why Utah typically has a top 5 defense in the league, is because Gobert is like literally erasing points. I mean, he doesn't have the steals, and Ben Simmons has the steals, but Ben Simmons doesn't have the blocks. So like, if you go again on a deeper analytical level, which I sometimes like to do, Ben Simmons gets the steals, and that, who knows if that's, in the backcourt, or it's just like a bad pass, and like it's counted as a steal no matter what. Gobert, like if you're blocking somebody, 9 times out of 10 with Gobert, it's at the rim. Yeah. So he's erasing those points. Now it might be one like Marcus Morris the other night in game 1, where you blocked him at the 3-point line. Yeah. And who knows if any of the shots are going to go in, but like Gobert, he also should get more love for the MVP, just because of like how like elite he is at those things, the blocking, the rebounds, the offensive rebounds, which creates more points. So he's eliminating points, but also creating more points with the rebounds. So, I mean, I don't think people look enough at that and what he does, and how he, kept them as the number 1 seed while Donovan Mitchell was out, and he was out for, a good amount of time. So I think he deserves a lot more love than he gets. People clown him and the COVID stuff, and rightfully so, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
we've touched base on that enough, but I mean, I'm okay with him getting defensive player of the year. I'm perfectly fine with it. I see no reason why he shouldn't get it. I don't know what are your thoughts?
Honestly, so before I even keep going, just for people to understand, he's won 3. So this puts him in the same category of other people that did have 2 Hall of Famers. So after I read these names, you already know he'll go to the Hall of Fame after that. But you have Dennis Rodman, Hakeem Olajuwon, Alonzo Mourning, Kawhi Leonard's also in that category too. And just off of that alone, I think the biggest thing people don't understand is, okay, he had 2 blocks that he averaged, but that doesn't take into account how many shots he probably altered, how many points that he probably prevented, in the sense of, you had point guards, shooting guards thinking, all right, do I want to go in the paint, or do I want to do like a teardrop floater and just try and like get it up there? And those are different reasons of altering the shot, but then also on the deeper level that Steven always goes into, how the shot was taken. So most times people might try and do an angle shot, just try and put it in, but you'll have to use the backboard or kind of throw it up off the backboard, or then see how many times he goaltended. So those are all things too that'll go into effect if it was a defensive goaltending in that sense too.
It changes your whole offense too.
Yeah.
Like for as long as he's on the floor, like it changes how you approach, taking to the basket, like you said, or it changes all that stuff. So, he adds just another element to the team that no other player in the league can do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, we go back to the Simone Biles thing. He's the best. I don't know if, yeah, I mean, he is the best defensive player in the league because he alters the game, like literally alters the game and eliminates points. So you got to try and find different ways to get other guys involved or find other ways to get points, or you hope that he gets in foul trouble, which is, happens obviously because he's a big man, but I have no problem with him winning it.
Yeah. And we'll segue over to the other one that Steven and I both talked about, but MVP with the Joker winning that one. What are your thoughts on that one?
I don't mean, in the words of Mark Jackson, no disrespect, but, or no, what he said, he says that with all due respect. Yeah. With all due respect, I think he won it by default this year.
Yeah.
Just because all the main players weren't playing for basically the entire season or most of the season. And some guys, Durant was out, Harden was out, LeBron was out, AD was out. Steph was out for a little bit.
Russell on a different team.
Yeah. And the Wizards weren't that good until late.
Yeah.
Even when Steph was playing, the Warriors weren't great. Luka was probably up there at some point, but the Mavs weren't that great either.
Giannis won it twice already.
Yeah, so they're not going to give him. I mean, he was eliminated before the season even started. He probably would have had. I mean, if the Bucks finished with the number 1 seed or number 1 overall record, he probably would have gotten more love. I don't know if he would have gotten it, but he definitely would have had a better shot at it. He probably would have had to average like 35 and 15 this year and just do something crazy. But like he was eliminated before the season even started. Like they're not going to give it to him 3 times in a row. So yeah, I mean, I'm like by default, if all those guys are healthy
and Murray healthy,
where does he finish? Where does he finish? If all those guys, LeBron, Durant, Harden, if all those guys this season were healthy, and everyone
the regular season too,
with the regular season, with a normal season, if we go into next season, everybody's healthy. I'm assuming that the odds are going to be, Durant, Harden, LeBron, AD, same guys as it has been for the last 10 years, probably. Where is he? Where is he in that list? He's probably closer to 10 than he is first.
Yeah.
He's way outside the top 5, not way outside, but he's probably closer to 10. So by default this year he won it, and he had a great season. He played all 72 games, and he averaged 26 and 10 and 8 assists. So he was deserving of it, but also who else were they going to give it to? Embiid didn't play. Embiid didn't play. He played enough, but Jokic played every game this season. So
that's another thing. He played.
That means something as well.
Yeah, Kawhi and PG still trying to figure things out there. Kawhi they'll end up resting and stuff. So Jokic had a great season, but if everyone was playing and it was a regular season, then Jamal Murray was there. You were able to hone in more on Denver and Jokic because Murray wasn't there. So of course, a lot of people saw what Murray did last year. So now this year, looking at what the Joker did, a lot of it was because of what they did last year. So you start to focus on it. Then you also have CP3 and other players in those conversations that would not be in it if everyone was fully healthy. Yeah. So that's kind of another thing that a lot of people, it reminds people of when they always talk about the Warriors that year, that all the point guards were injured and how the Warriors ended up making it to the finals that year, that they supposedly had a lucky year. They had a great year, just like Jokic had a great season this year. But if everyone was healthy, what would it have been?
Yeah, if all things are equal. Speaking of equal, Julio to the Titans doesn't seem
Ooh,
like everything's not going to be equal in the AFC. Now, the
no.
only thing that's going to hold them back is Ryan Tannehill.
So
Like,
what's funny is with Ryan Tannehill, I always think about when he was in Miami and the practice squad would go on him, talking about how Ryan Tannehill was a scrub. But yet look at where he is now. And they're paying him this money, but I don't know. That's a great question. It puts a lot on Ryan Tannehill, just like Daniel Jones in New York. It's going to put a lot on him. When you get all these weapons, what's really going to be the case with Tannehill? Because you're going to expect AJ Brown and Julio, they're going to want the ball. So you have to find a way to get them the ball.
so like, I don't want to I don't want to bash Tannehill and say that he's a scrub, but he's not. Like, I mean, look at his numbers last year. He completed 65% of his passes. He had 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Okay, like that's a very, very respectable season. But it's like, do we really trust Ryan Tannehill?
I know.
Like, it really takes either getting to the AFC title game, getting to the Super Bowl, whatever, like, for people to be like, okay, like, yeah, he can do this when it matters. He hasn't done it yet. And that's the way, like that, but that's with everybody. Like, that's with every athlete coming up. And until you either win or, like, people know that you can get your team there. And the Titans have made the run, but it's always been on the back of Derrick Henry. So,
that's
like,
the big thing. Yeah.
if he goes down, or he has a down season, and teams are, lucky for them, if teams are gearing up to stop Derrick Henry and putting, 7 or 8 guys in the box, you got 2 guys on the outside. You have a future Hall of Famer and a guy who's, trying to obviously build a Hall of Fame resume in AJ Brown. So, you got to, like, pick your poison with that kind of stuff. But, like, again, how much are we trusting Ryan Tannehill to, put the team on his back and get the ball to those guys when it matters most? If the other team is taking out Derrick Henry.
Yeah, fantasy implications. We'll get into that in July and August when we talk about that. But also with Tannehill, it's one of those that you'll start to see if he really is worth all the money. They even got rid of Marcus Mariota and just made Tannehill the guy. Of course, we know what coaching can do. Of course, we know what Julio and AJ Brown can do. But you pay that quarterback so much money for a reason. The defense, they have some solid pieces over there too, but you'll end up figuring out this year what it is, because it's all going to come down to Tannehill. That's why they get paid for that. That's why if Derrick Henry has some issues and stuff, you'll end up finding that out. So,
and like, the AFC is, it's until someone knocks them off, it's the Chiefs league.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty obvious, right? But then you got Baltimore, you got Cleveland's on the come up. The Bills with Josh Allen.
Yeah, shout out.
And with Touchdown Jesus down in Jacksonville.
I know.
What's and I don't mean Tim Tebow, but what's Jacksonville going to be like with Trevor Lawrence?
Lawrence.
I mean, I don't think they're there yet, but, like,
they have
who
pieces.
the hell? Yeah, I mean, who the hell knows how they'll shake out? I mean, I've seen a lot of people count out the Steelers, but, like, I've seen that happen before. Being a Steelers fan, like, I know what that's like for them, for people just to hate on the Steelers and put them down. But, like, they still have good pieces and they still have a good defense. So, I mean, the AFC it's not like it's up for grabs. I mean, I think it's still a 2-team race when you look at Kansas City, you look at Baltimore, because those are the 2 teams, who I would probably put my money on. But yeah, adding Julio, we're gonna go.
No, but Lamar is a big one. Lamar's kind of in that same category of, who are you going to take? Are you going to take the opponent and their defense, or are you going to take Lamar? If they can get Lamar some receivers, he needs more receivers than he has, then they'll be good. I hear them looking at Todd Gurley to get him in the backfield. I was just going to say that. Yeah, I don't know how.
He's got one knee, so
he does. And the Rams exposed that whole thing. Like, I feel so bad for him once they said, his knees aren't going to be too good anymore. Teams are like, oh, we're out. Like, that's what sucks. You can tank the value of a running back so fast.
Yep. That's too bad.
But
But yeah, I
One
mean,
thing,
like we don't know what the Titans are gonna like. We don't. Again, how much do we trust Ryan Tannehill? We'll
mhm,
have to wait and see how that goes. But
yeah,
I mean, pairing up him with AJ Brown and Derrick Henry. What do you think about Julio going with the number 2?
he's gonna be that. Now he's
Yeah.
more so as I would see him as in the end zone. What's gonna end up happening?
No,
Like
no,
he'll
no. I
throw it
mean,
up
I
to
mean, I mean, I mean, jersey number 2.
okay. So
Going with
that's
that. Oh no, he's gonna be number 1
for the
receiver.
most part. I know
Yeah.
AJ Brown, fantasy wise, they're gonna end up wanting to get him the ball a lot. But jersey number 2, I think is really good. It's a respectful thing that Julio did, and he acknowledges because you start to see a lot of big time players when they go to different places, they end up wanting to end up getting their jersey number where they go.
Yeah.
He let AJ Brown keep it. And that's something I really do like. So Julio is basically saying he's more than just a jersey number. So we'll see how that ends up going because he does have injuries at times too. So I am hoping he stays healthy throughout this
Yep.
season.
Facts.
But we'll get into a lot more football in probably July, August. August, stay tuned because we'll hopefully end up doing our live fantasy draft, the draft that we're always in. So we'll end up talking about that. Hopefully, we can end up getting other people that are a part of that fantasy draft on the podcast so we can end up doing it live that way and get their thoughts. But we'll end up moving over to another Mega Million thing and we'll get quick thoughts on Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. So I'll start with saying that, and it's not something we'll take a long time on, but the fact that Floyd got $30 million off more so endorsements and sponsorships and stuff, and Logan Paul made 20 million for just the fight, for them not to even fully be boxing. And the fact that supposedly Floyd knocked him out one time and just held him up. What are your thoughts?
Like, I mean, Floyd's gonna make his money. So like we can just
Every day.
we'll just put him out of there because that's just what he does. I don't know. Look like it.
The Maverick.
Yeah, I just don't get like why like why do you have to box? Like you can't do other things to get. I mean, nothing else you're gonna do is gonna get you those kind of racks. But
Yeah.
like boxing, like I didn't watch. I saw the highlights. I didn't watch the fight. I sure as hell wasn't gonna pay for it.
Heck no.
So like, but like everyone knew what it was gonna be. Floyd said he wasn't gonna knock him out.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he did a couple
Yeah, he
times.
did.
Like, I mean, you could probably pay me 30, $20 million, whatever, to take a punch.
Right?
Yeah, bro. I'm going 8 rounds. And
yeah, I know.
And
Almost guaranteed.
I know that Floyd's not gonna knock me out.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it'll look good or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna get any jabs in, but like, you're gonna give me $30 million to go 8 rounds. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Sign
but like,
me up.
I just like the whole thing just seems so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get why. It's so unfortunate that we had to deal with it.
Yeah.
But like, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot of money. So like, go ahead, make your paper. I'm not gonna fault you for getting 30. Now, if it was like 200 grand, yeah, that's pretty stupid. But 30 million,
Yeah.
cool. Like, cool.
Yeah, that's the wild thing with that. It was the same weekend as the Bitcoin conference for anyone that was wondering. So a lot of the cryptocurrency money was already down there. You'll notice that sponsorships of Logan Paul shorts were by it, but then also Floyd Mayweather had a Ethereum Max shirt at one point too. But another crazy thing about Floyd, this man had like sponsor endorsements all over. Hat sponsored, mask sponsored, shirt sponsored.
I think he had someone's OnlyFans.
He did have OnlyFans up
there
too. But I'll give a quick update and we can segue back into this. Bucks are up 67-65. That's come such a far way because the Nets literally were almost at the point of being blown out. And they came back.
They've only scored 37 points. Wait, is it you said end of the third?
Yeah, end of the third.
So they've only scored 37 points over the second quarter and the third quarter. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. That's crazy. But
so
what are your thoughts on that series too?
I think the Bucks, like Giannis needs to make free throws. If they're gonna win, he needs to
Giannis is 2 for 7.
He's 2 for 7. He's 0 of 3. He's 0 of 5 from 3. He also, I saw, got a 10-second violation called, which is like, I don't know. I don't that's kind of crazy too, because like I don't understand how you let that happen. Like, do you really need to take that much time to shoot a free throw?
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
The
you
only
know
other
you're gonna miss at that point.
Yeah, I'm like, it's all mental. It's all mental for him at this point. He's airballed one tonight. He's 2 of 7. Like, I know he's not a great, like, we all know he's not a great free throw shooter, dude, but like, you get paid this much money and literally all you have to do is practice basketball day in and day out. And when the season's over, whether it's in, in less than a week for the Bucks, or, however long the season lasts for them in the off season, like, that's what you're expected to do. Okay. Your area of weakness. And we're getting way too far into this. It bothers. One of the biggest things in sports is how bad NBA basketball players can be at free throws.
You get paid for that. That's similar to a kicker missing certain kicks. Like, that's, you literally get paid for it. You do nothing else but that.
Like,
you're going to the free throw line.
Yeah. Like, especially if you're a big man, like, especially if you're a forward or a center, and like LeBron, like, same thing. Like, I've seen him airball a shit ton of free throws, and like he changes his free throw stance and everything so many times every single season. You expect guys like Steph and KD, who are scorers, to have good rhythm and good percentages, but like, oh my gosh.
So last thing with this, and I'll bring it up because I just looked at it. So the Bucks are 8 of 15 from the free throw line. Crazy thing is, 99.9% of the free throws have been between Chris Middleton and Giannis. Giannis is 2 for 7 from the free throw line. Chris Middleton is 6 for 7 from the free throw line. And then they have Giannis has 26 points. Chris Middleton has 27 points. Only other person that's taken free throws, shout out Bobby Portis with 1.
Shout out.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think, I mean, overall about this series,
this is supposed to be a good one too.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I thought that Milwaukee was going to be able to do, not all the time, but when they needed to, is all you need to do is get stops.
Yeah.
You need like each, they start off the game hot. They did exactly what they did, literally exactly what they need to do. It was 30-11 at one point in the first quarter. Like, you did everything you needed to do. You just needed to not screw up and let Brooklyn go on a run. I mean, that's it. Like, and the announcers before we got on here, they were talking like, we all know Brooklyn's going to go on a run. Yeah. It's just, if you're Milwaukee, can you sustain this and, hold them down for, 2 or 3 possessions at a time. And then, I mean, obviously it's easier said than done with Brooklyn, but like, that's what you need to do. And if it's not going to be Milwaukee and their defense, it's going to have to be probably Utah if they get to the finals, or you're not, a team like Phoenix to just keep up scoring wise. But I don't see anyone beating Brooklyn, unfortunately. I really hate that Durant has needed so much help to get his rings. And I'm not, that's all I'm going to say, because I know there's probably people watching who are tuning in who are,
Durant fans,
but
yeah,
that's fine. You can come at me with that. Twitter handle is at Steven_Springs.
So we'll finish with that one, because I know in the weeks to come, we'll end up talking about that. And hopefully when we get Mike on the podcast, we'll be able to talk to him as well about his thoughts. The top scorers for the Nets are Bruce Brown, KD, and Kyrie. So it's kind of one of those things that it's spread out, whereas the Bucks, it's basically the 2. But we'll switch over to the other matchup in the East, and then we'll come back to the West. We'll go to the West. But Sixers and Hawks. So that's tied up 1-1. I didn't even know that at first, but that's tied up 1-1. Close games, and people are over here like the Sixers are going to do well.
I'm going to go with Philly. I think Joel Embiid is going to be the difference. I think it's a given, right?
Yeah.
He had a career high. I think he had 42 the other
Hmm.
night. And I don't think anyone has an answer for him. And I just hope that he stays healthy,
That's the
because
only thing.
if he's healthy and he has like that Shaquille O'Neal mindset, he's like the
Yeah.
closest one in the league, maybe outside of Giannis, if they used him the right way, which we can get into that at a different point. That Mike Budenholzer or Boldenhoser or Bulldozer or whatever his name is, like he's not.
Doesn't use
They're
Giannis.
just not using him right. Just leave him in the
No.
paint and let him go. It's the same thing like that. New Orleans has to do with Zion. Leave him in the paint.
Yes.
Let him go.
Stop making him do this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into that at a different point. Those are two different topics. But if Embiid just keeps this Shaquille O'Neal mindset, and he can knock down the threes and the elbow jumpers and everything. But there's no one in the league that can guard him down low. I mean, he's like he's 7 feet tall, he's 250. He's got the moves. He's got Hakeem like feet. He's he can get any shot he wants, and he's a above 80% free throw shooter.
Yeah, that's the other thing, which is
Like
crazy.
no one, just get down there, get the other teams in foul trouble, and go to the line, and you're gonna win. And he plays good defense. So and he can kick it out to guys who are not Danny Green, but he can shoot at the other guys who are who are gonna make
Danny Green. Come on, man. That
shout
man
out.
always messes up. Shout out.
Yep.
One thing I will say is I am a huge fan of Jokic, but Jokic and Embiid play totally different. In a sense, they both know how to shoot, but Embiid will use a little more quickness, whereas Jokic is very smart. He's definitely smart, and he can be a big passer. You can let him bring the ball down. Sometimes if you had an Embiid bring the ball down, you're like, dang, all right, hopefully this goes well. But then you want to end up like throwing it to Ben or someone, because Joel is really good in the half court game. You'll have Jokic, who's excellent. You can almost give him the ball literally right when you pass it in. He's gonna pull some Kevin Love pass, get it all the way down there if he needs to.
Yep.
But honestly, I have to go with you with the Sixers. Trey's doing really good, but he's just like all the other small guards. He can't keep this up on his own. And he's basically doing a lot of it on his own. They might get a game in Atlanta. I could see them getting one. If they don't get any in Atlanta, it's over. It's coming back to Philly and it's a wrap. So we'll go back to the West. But before we talk about the Western games, I do want your thoughts on Game 7 and the Mavericks and Clippers.
Luka needs help, and Porzingis is not the answer. I'm so disappointed in Kristaps Porzingis. Like you're 7'3".
He's not a unicorn anymore.
He's not a post guy. He's not a perimeter guy. I don't really know what he is. I feel like we should know this by now, like what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He just he can't make up his mind. I mean, he's not. I don't know. There's definitely moments where he'll drop 25, 30 points and he'll hit 6 or 7 threes maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like this is what he can really do. And I thought teaming him up with Luka would make a difference.
I thought so too. I was excited for it when it happened.
Because all eyes on Luka. He's driving to the paint, whatever, and then kick it out and hit those threes or lob it up, whatever. I mean, 7'3" tall. He's 7'3" for God's sakes. Like, it can't be that hard. It can't be that hard for you to get buckets. No one's asking you to play all NBA defense. They're just asking you to drop 25 a game, maybe. So I think he needs help. Like, I think he either needs a true, another wing scorer or an actual big man.
What made me
play inside out?
What made me mad, and I put this on Twitter, because after I saw this, I said Luka needs help. It was a 2-on-1 fast break, and Porzingis had the ball. I was like, all right, like he's gonna do one of his mean dunks, pass it over. I think it was Tim Hardaway Jr. or it's one of the other ones, but literally he put up and tried to shoot a 3. He missed it, but I'm kind of thinking, you are that big, and it was probably a guard or a small forward that was between them, and you pull a 3. And I'm just saying, all right, Luka just got to do this on his own. Everyone can't just be pulling threes. They teach you this in basketball 101 on a 2-on-1 fast break. Unless you're Steph Curry, he's the new asterisk, drive it. Just pass it, drive it, do something. I don't know why he's doing that.
Put that pressure on the defense to make a great defensive play. You're 7'3".
Yeah.
Like you're one of the biggest dudes in the league. And we just don't know what he does.
No,
like he's just like, I mean, he definitely had glimpses in New York, and he's had some in Dallas. And I don't know if they can trade for him because he's making so much damn money.
That
contract, that's tied up for a while. I mean, you gotta get a team that's like, that's
you
just
have to have one of those John Wall, Russell Westbrook deals where it's contract for contract.
Yeah, or you gotta hope the other team is ready to give up 5 players for your one guy type of thing. So I mean, they're locked into Porzingis, and they just got to figure out how to make that work. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just, hey, dude, like, you're gonna stay on the outside. We're gonna bring someone in. We're gonna bring maybe not like a high paid big man, but we're gonna bring someone in, and we're gonna have an inside out game. And Luka's just gonna do what he does, figure out the magic, and but like he's gotta pick something.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna be a low post guy and like sometimes step outside, or are you gonna be just an outside big man? Like either way, you gotta pick it, because me being a Pistons fan, I'm losing my patience. So I'm trying to find a new team to latch onto, and I really like Luka, so I want to jump on the Mavs. But if Porzingis is going to bring me down before I even get on the boat, like, I'm not doing it.
Hey, that's why I just chose the Grizzlies. Stick with them. Hopefully they get one player out there. But we'll segue to the West. And since you brought up a team you're trying to find, a team that I definitely like, we'll go with the Suns and Nuggets. And what are your thoughts? It's 2-0. CP3 is beating Father Time every single day. And it seems as though, it doesn't seem. It is. Every team he goes to, that team gets better. And it opens up the court for everybody. But thoughts on that game and series?
I'm gonna go with the Suns. I think honestly, I'm gonna be surprised if it goes longer than 5. I just don't think. I don't know. Again, without Jamal Murray, I don't trust anyone on the Nuggets enough to Like Michael Porter Jr. All those guys have a
game or two.
Yeah, they all have those games, but it's like in a 7-game series with it against a team like Phoenix, who's just shooting lights out. Shout out Devin Booker.
Yeah,
I just don't see that they can. Like, they might snag a game at home, which Milwaukee, it's 74-74 right now, so they might sneak a game out at home. That might be their only hope, because I mean, Phoenix has a lot of momentum. I think I don't know like what it meant knocking out the Lakers, because they weren't obviously healthy, but like,
and they knew that too.
Yeah, and CP3 faking that shoulder injury, like, it seems fine now. Shout out to the team doctors in Phoenix.
All of them.
I'll go Phoenix. I'll say 5. Make it respectable, which that's not really that respectable, but I'll go Phoenix. I just think their momentum is just too much right now.
So I thought the same thing. And even going back to some of the practice runs we had, I thought Phoenix had a chance to go far. All they needed to do was end up getting by the Lakers. If they could do that, they could end up going farther, because Aiton's going to continue to grow and mature and stuff. We knew that back in college, that he was going to be good. Booker, we know what he is. And then you have CP3, and having that floor general, it's different having that from the point guard position than having that from the center position. And Jokic kind of has to do everything. So he's going to be exhausted. But when you have an anchor down there in Ayton with CP3, I definitely think this series is basically over. So I won't copy you and say 5. So I'll just, for shits and giggles, say 6. Do I think it'll go 6? It might. It depends on what happens in Denver. Denver has to pull both of them. I almost think that Denver has to get both of those games, and one of them has to be a convincing win. It can't be just close games. So then we'll go into the game tonight, the Jazz Clips. It's 1-0, should not be 1-0 for the Jazz, but you almost know what you're going to get from the Clippers at this point. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think, every year it rides on who we're gonna see, playoff P or pandemic P.
Hey, we know who
I
we're
mean,
seeing.
yeah, like at this point, just sign me up for that pandemic again, because that's what we're gonna get from him. So I don't know. I don't know how Utah is so good sometimes, like offensively,
Yeah.
because like I know Donovan Mitchell is that guy and he dropped 45, but
Mm-hmm.
like, it's crazy how much scoring they get from everybody else so consistently. And like, it's just, Ingles from down the line, Clarkson,
Yeah.
Gobert might get you that 20 spot, but like they just get it so consistently from everybody. And they play great team defense. So I'm going to go with the Jazz. They've been the best team all year long, or, at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with the Jazz. I'm gonna go 6. I think they'll get it, and LA will probably win a couple games back at home, maybe, and then they'll finish it out. Finish on Utah.
So I'm gonna go the other way, and I'm only going
Okay.
the other way just because something's always gonna click with Kawhi, and I think Kawhi is at this point of being like, y'all are just not doing it for me. I got to do it myself. You can tell he definitely tries to incorporate everyone, but when Kawhi gets it, it's probably like 90% that shot is going in because he knows where he's shooting from. He's not like the rest of the players. There's a good amount of players in the NBA that'll just throw it up there and be like, all right, I make this in practice, or I can make this. Kawhi knows his spot, and he's going to try and get there to end up making it. It's always around the elbow. That's what you start to notice. It's those elbow jumpers. He might step back a step or two, but I just feel as though Tyronn Lue, PG, and Kawhi, they literally have to do it. Because if it doesn't happen this year, they're going to look at that team and try and figure out what's the problem. They have so much money tied up into them. Rondo, I think they need to use more. And I think this would be a decent series to use him, because also Conley might be coming back soon. And you know what Conley's going to give the Jazz?
He's out tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he comes back, if they make it go 7 and Conley's back, it's going to be the Jazz. And I say that because if Conley's there, he helps out so much and he has that veteran mindset. But then you also have Clarkson and Ingles. Mm-hmm. They call it the 6-man for a reason. You never know when you're going to get it from. And for both of them to be in that conversation, so it's literally 6 or nothing. Because Clippers legit have to do it. If it goes back to Utah, it's over. Now, if the Clippers can't even get a game right now, it might just go 5.
Yep. I feel you.
So that's my thoughts on that. Next thing I will bring up, because last time Steven was talking about them cicadas. And with those cicadas, when I tell you, it's just a different breed. So Steven was talking about cicadas last time. And typically I always drive with my windows down. That's just how I've always been.
Oh, no.
Thinking
no. Whoa. Oh my God. And I don't even want to listen to this story now.
So it wasn't even like, so where I work as well, there's a bunch of cicadas outside. It wasn't even where I work, literally on 495 and 95. So anyone around on the East Coast, basically, you understand like how 495 traffic can be. All right, windows down. And you start to see them. You feel like you're going through a maze or something, or a forest, because they just hit your windshield. But this time, like I heard it, and it was like flying on the side, the windows down, chilling. All of a sudden, you hear it. I was like, all right, where'd it go? Like, that's a landing sound. It didn't keep flying. Then all of a sudden, you start hearing the wings flap, and it was in the car. And so, so it was like right underneath where you could put stuff on, like the door handle on the driver's side. And I saw it, and I'm thinking, all right, It
was on your side.
It was on my side,
like in that little like random slot.
Yes. Yep. No, it was right there chilling. And with a bajillion eyes that it had, you could tell like we were kind of looking in the same direction. And I'm like, all right, I got to focus on the road. Like, what am I going to do? So I said, all right, you know what? Let me try and look for it again. It was gone, but it wasn't there anymore. But I still heard it. So I'm over here thinking,
bro, I am at this point, like I'm like 10 miles ago, I am out of the car. I'm pulling off the side of the road, or like I'm barrel rolling out of the car. Like I do no. Okay.
And that's literally what I thought, because I said, all right, let me pull over. But I said, if I pull over, that's going to put me behind. And then I'm also like, am I going to hit somebody? So I said, all right, you know what? Let me just hope and pray that this thing just does its own thing back there. Then all of a sudden you'll randomly start to hear it make its little noise, do its little flap. And then two more like hit the window. So I said, damn, not another one better not come in the car. But then I said, I don't want to raise the windows at this point because I wanted to try and go out. So I lower all the windows down and I get to work, but every 5 seconds you end up hearing like a little flap at a stoplight. You could tell it moved. So it's like making a noise. And I'm thinking, better not call nobody. So I get to work, open every single door. So the people at my job are thinking like, why you got all your doors open? All of a sudden, randomly, you just see like someone fall over on his back and just start like flapping his wings. I was like, close them doors, out. Like, wasn't even dealing with that no more.
No, dude, I can't even begin to tell you how much I hate those things. Like,
yes,
my neighborhood is good. Like, we're not like, we're fine. Like, we have like a handful every now and then, right? Like, there's like our neighborhood's been dug up over the last 17 years. So like they didn't start here, but they're like migrating here a little bit. We have like small trees in front of our house, and like in our neighborhood, we don't have the big ones like a lot of places do, like a lot of neighborhoods do. So like we're good, right? But we're better than a lot of other places in Maryland, like way better. So I can't complain, but I'm going to, because if those things weren't so damn big, bro,
yeah,
like
yes.
if they were the size of a fly, I'm cool. Like I'm cool with it. Like no worries at all. Fine. Just like it's a fly, no big deal. Bro, those things are like,
they're huge.
I don't even have anything right now that's like comparable to like how big those things are. They're so
kind of like
big.
This size.
Yeah, but they have like their wings
bunch
are
of
like
eyes, make noise.
Yeah, dude, like their wingspan is like, Willie Cauley Stein type
Yeah,
of thing.
I know. Yep.
They their eyes are just crazy, and like, dude, they're just so loud. They're so big, and I'm the person where like, if I hear it, I know it's around. If I hear that shit, dude, I'm swiping, I'm punching air.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, bro, I'm not going outside from the hours of like 10 a.m. to like 6. My dogs that go outside, like, cool. Like, you can go outside, do your thing. You come back inside.
Yep.
I'm not coming to get you. Like, nope. If the kids want to go outside, cool. Go outside, lock the door. They can go chill outside, do whatever they want to do.
And like, the kids like to play with them.
No,
that's
not mine.
Crazy thing.
Not mine. Not mine. Not mine. No, sir. No,
I was at a stoplight, and this little girl, she like had 2 on her fingers. And then the mom was like, you're not bringing that in the house. And then she's just like holding them, walking across the street. And I'm just like, you just don't even know what that's going to do. If that comes in the house, over. Like,
bro, we had soccer. We can wrap it up after this. We had soccer on. We had soccer on Sunday. Both kids had soccer at the same time. And the place where we had soccer at, they're all over the field, all over the field. It's at a preschool. All over the field, all over the trees. It's it's right outside of our neighborhood. So it's an older area. And I was with Mason, my son, and my wife was with Mia, our daughter. And they were just like, one landed on Mia. She was done. Mason's doing his little soccer thing. One like smacks him in the face. Bro, it landed on him for a hot second. And like, I like flicked it off. But like in my head, I'm like, all right, that's his problem. I'm out. Yeah, I know. Like, I know he's 2, but like, dude, you gotta learn to fend for yourself with this one. Yeah, because I am not touching those things. I had a hat on, and I'm like, they're flying around, and I'm like, take my hat off every 5 seconds, swiping those things. We have soccer again on Sunday, right? It's the last one. God. They get a certificate, all this kind of good stuff. Told Brooke, I was like, we are not going. I was like, y'all can go, and I'll watch you from the car. Because I'm not going, bro. I'm like, I'm perfectly okay admitting that I am legitimately, scared isn't the right word. I'm just like, because they're not gonna do anything. They don't bite. They're not poisons. They can't sting. Nothing. There's like, they literally will do nothing to you other than land on you. But when you have this thing land on you like this, bro, no, sir. I am so far out. It's not even funny. And the next time they come around in 17 years. Both kids will be in college. We're out. Yeah, I'm moving from Maryland. I'm not coming back ever.
Because they're not everywhere. Yeah, like
no, they're not.
Some people in Georgia.
Like, it's like just Maryland. Why? It's just Maryland. I don't get it. Like, I was talking to someone today for work, and I'm like, hey, do you guys have cicadas where you are? They're like, no. What the hell is that? I'm like, yeah, it's only Maryland. It's
Yeah, I
only
know.
here out of all the states and one of the smallest states in the entire country.
See,
Why?
Because in Virginia, we have them around like the trees and stuff, but literally wherever I go in Maryland, I'm going to see them. But so we'll end that part, and we'll always try and end with some sort of question. So last time we did investing, and we'll always ask that question to everyone who comes on the podcast, but question for both of us that we'll answer. What would you say is your favorite either show or movie that revolves around finance or sports?
Ooh. Can I a favorite movie or show?
Yeah, so basically anything.
If I'll pick both. If I had to go movie, I would probably say Remember the Titans. That's probably my favorite movie of all time. Show, I would say Entourage.
Okay.
That revolves around finance, getting that bread as an actor.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people haven't heard about the show on HBO. It's over now. Boardwalk Empire.
Okay.
It was a gangster movie from the 1920s, or a show from the 1920s, Prohibition, but the money thing is still there. So I'd probably say Entourage and Remember the Titans. If we're going show and movie, what do you got?
So I'll go with a show for everyone. And it's a new show that a lot of people probably don't know. It's new more so to Netflix, but it's been around for a while. But Startup. So Startup is on Netflix. It basically talks about it's three main people in three totally different backgrounds. That's what I really do appreciate it. And it revolves around cryptocurrency, but it's not just that. It takes place in Florida, so Miami. And you have one that had a dad that did a lot of illegal activity with finances, but they had so much money. You have a Black guy that is basically from the hoods in Miami, and he's Haitian. So it's like the Haitian gangs. And you have a girl, shout out Izzy, and she basically is the brains behind a lot of it with creating like the blockchain. She creates a coin called GenCoin, which is a competitor to Bitcoin. Don't want to give the show away, but it's around those three people. And they basically create a company, but they have to learn so much because they don't necessarily know the business aspect to it. So they learn that there's a lot of deaths and stuff, because think about Bitcoin when it started out and how certain people use it for illegal activity and stuff. So if you haven't seen that, take a look at that. I'll end it with that part. I appreciate everyone who's watching. Make sure, like always, like, subscribe, tell your friends about the 2 giveaways that we have. It's always good just talking shop all the time with Steven. You got anything for the people?
Sleep well. Sleep well. Another day tomorrow. It's Friday.
Hey, yeah. So we'll catch everyone next week. Stay tuned this weekend. I'm hoping to actually get on some more crypto review videos. 8380 Brooklyn Nets. With that, catch you later, guys.
Peace.